What
Yeah,
kind of weapons did you get to use at the foreign weapons course?
uh, obviously everybody uses the AK, and then they teach you
Yeah.
about the Dishka and all of the snipers variations they had. Man, I'm trying to even remember the Dishka. There was the
PKM, precision machine
EKMs.
gun, where you have to hand load the rounds into the brass and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah, and things like that. We got to shoot the RPG, and they
Oh,
wanted
really? That's
they
sick.
yeah they wanted us to kind of listen and learn how with the round coming out and kind of be mindful of what it sounds like because
Mm-hmm.
you have that split second to react to it to a
Yeah,
RPG round.
literally like a
And
split second. They move quickly.
yeah, and I mean pretty much just to hit the deck because if you're doing foot patrols, you can hit the deck, and I'm like,
Yeah.
it's, they're so deadly, and there were such high threat out there as well, and so we got to do that out in I
What
forgot
was
what it.
it before you move on? What was it like compared to shooting a small? So you've obviously as an assaultman you've shot AT4s, you shot SMAWs, and now you shot RPGs. What of the three, like, can you kind of give like the differences between the three and like which one you thought was the better weapon?
Well, RPG is rocket propelled. Pretty much, there's an explosion, shoots the rocket, and it just goes until it hits something.
Yeah.
And there's the way it's shaped, the tip will set off the explosion. So that's why there's sometimes you have different variations of it. Sometimes you have time delays. So
Mm-hmm.
that's when you hear stories of somebody getting an RPG on them because they hit. I don't know if you've ever heard stories like that. We had somebody from a unit, not 27, but a unit that was there in Iraq. An RPG hit their Humvee,
Mm-hmm.
went through the armored Humvee, and it ended up on the guy's like side, and it didn't explode.
Mm.
And they had to somehow send him over to wherever he went, and they removed it at the operating room. That was kind
I
of
don't know if
interesting.
it's that specific incidents that I heard about, but I know what you're talking about. And there was one where that happened. It went through, and the RPG was stuck in the guy's side,
Yeah,
and they basically took him next to the operating area where they normally would operate on you, and they put him outside, and the doctors were all flacked up and did surgery on the guy and removed with an EOD tech right there.
yeah,
Removed this live RPG from the dude's
RPG, yeah,
like side and pulled it out of him, and then like went and probably blew it up, but saved the guy, which
yeah,
is totally insane to think about. That huge ass football rocket can like go into you and not kill you.
yeah, and I, but I'm like I heard of instances, so not just that one. I've heard of many that
Yeah.
that that had happened. So that's a RPG. It's pretty much a gas explosion, shoots pretty much a grenade, and it could destroy an armored vehicle. It could.
Mm-hmm.
There's tank bunker busters as well, and there's the anti-personnel that could explode in the air and just kind of send shrapnel all over the place. But
Yeah.
those are kind of rare. But and then you have the small, which by far it's my favorite because you have the loudest weapon in the Marine Corps in your
Yeah.
shoulder, in your shoulders, and it's this several stage rocket, and the rocket comparison to a missile, a rocket just goes out until it hits something or it runs out of fuel. A
Mm-hmm.
missile can be guided, and that's when the toes and uh, laser guided and all that stuff because they can even change course at
Yeah.
times. But this SMAW is just the most badassest thing you can ever shoot because you're you're shooting this to destroy a tank from your
Mm-hmm.
shoulder, and it's not just gonna make a hole and kind of disable it. It's gonna blow the shit up. And they tell you, you dry fire, you practice. Finally, get to live shooting, and I got to do that in. Was that in Camp Pendleton? I want to say, and I was surprised they let them shoot something so loud, so aggressive in Camp Pendleton because they never do. And this thing just shoots and engulfs you on fire from behind you, and it's this massive fireball, and the whole ground shakes, and it's just this rocket about to make somebody's day just all kinds of bad, man. And it's and just to say I've done that in combat, it's awesome, man.
That's wicked, dude. That's wicked. I've never gotten to shoot a small. That would have been something I would have really enjoyed, I think.
Yeah, and it takes a little bit of training because you got.
Does it have a delay? Is it one of those things where like you pull the trigger and like it has like a slight delay between when you hit the button to shoot and it launches, or is it like immediate? You know what? And what I'm getting at is like, do you have people that pull the trigger and kind of react? You know, get that jump because they think it's going to explode and then throw it off target. Is that a thing?
Well, I mean, we train for that, and we do dry fires that you click and they make the sound over like computer sound.
Yeah.
Because a rocket is not going to shoot out like like out of your rifle, for example. It starts slow. So when you click, the reaction is immediate, but the round hasn't left the barrel. I guess if I can call it a barrel muscle. It has not left the muscle yet. It takes a millisecond to get out, but it's not like a rifle that you just feel the recoil. This one, you're shooting and you literally feel the rocket push you down.
The weight shift.
Because the weight's shifting forward, so you got to really brace yourself for that weight shift. And that's pretty much the only delay that there is of the round traveling through the tube. That's pretty much it.
That's wicked, dude.
Once it's going down range, it's fast.
Yeah. So now back to Iraq.